So my first question is, which is a question of a lot of people in Pakistan, what should the natural lifters do to boost their testosterone? Since everybody cannot hop on TRT or get on roids to like achieve their goals, so what should they do?
Okay. First of all, before you start anything, get a blood work done. Then at
All
least
right.
we know.
Yep.
Because we don't know what's low testosterone. There's no point saying, yeah, you can say stuff like, okay, I'm going to do something, I'm going to live my life in a way that everything I do is going to increase my testosterone. That's how I like to live.
Yep.
So everything I do, you can call it primal if you want. You know, we live a primate so that we
Liver King lifestyle.
Yeah, well, that's a little bit extreme. I think
Right.
I think he's a little bit too crazy to be fair. And it's a great gimmick though. But we'll get to Liver King on another video. But it's a great gimmick. But we should always live a lifestyle to increase testosterone. Yep. Whether it's naturally or if you're on TRT, that doesn't mean just because I'm on TRT. So I am on TRT right now and have been for many years, almost 8 years. I've been on TRT non-stop. I came off just to experiment and I came back on again. But I'm always still trying to maintain my lifestyle, natural stuff that I'm eating to keep my testosterone high, even though I'm taking TRT. So to answer your question, what can we do?
Exactly, yeah.
The number one thing, like just as a blanket statement, the majority of bodybuilding diets or diets that people find when they come to the gym, the first thing they run away from is fat. Fat is what promotes your body to build testosterone naturally. That's the first thing. Like, there's so many studies done on it, and you guys know I'm not big on studies and stuff like that, but I like to pick and choose, just like everybody else does. Everybody has certain studies which they like, which they think, okay, this is a good study, so I'm going to use that to push my narrative. So I've got to do exactly the same. So I'm going to use the studies where people have had, you know, a lot of high fatty foods. For example, people are shy of the skin, but that's good fats, animal fats. People don't eat steak every single day, but it's good fats. People are scared of having egg yolks, but it's good fats. People are scared of having nuts because they're high in calories. These are all good fats. So if you have these 4 things that I've just listed there, that's going to increase your testosterone.
So you actually, you're actually saying that like animal fats or the fats that are coming from these sources are better compared to the fats that we get from the oil?
Oh, much better. Yeah. Because remember, when you get fats from oil, which is good, the oil fats are good as well. Like you say, let's say we have omega-3, fish oils, that comes from fish. But it still has to go through a process. And it's a great process to get it. I'm not saying it's the wrong process, but it still has to have, there is some sort of process way to get it out. And then some companies are ethical, some aren't. Where are they getting processed from? Are we getting the process from the farm-raised fish? Is it wild caught? We don't really know these things. And the olives, how much mixture is in the olives? You know, there's a certain amount that they're allowed to give you. And then is it in a plastic bottle? Is it in a glass bottle? There's so many variables. Whereas we can just control the variables by having some nuts. We know they're always going to be raw. If we go and buy some raw nuts, you know, we get a peanut with a shell on it, it's going to be that. There's nothing added to it. And yeah, you can have them roasted and salted and stuff like that, but I don't feel there's nothing wrong with that. So it's all about controlling the variable. If we look at oil, often we might find, and this happens many times in life, you'll get a product and you think, this is the best product, it's amazing, and all of a sudden, you don't know where that product is sourced. And I'll give you a great example. It's not the mainstream news at the minute, but you know Bragg's apple cider vinegar? You heard of it? It was a great product. And it always has been a great product because it was always as you say, the mama papa's kind of stored product. It never went too mainstream. They never branched out. They never had crazy factories anywhere. Guess who's just purchased Bragg's apple cider vinegar? Bill Gates.
Right.
So we know exactly which road he's heading now in the farming. So now, where are those apples going to be sourced? What's going to be mixed inside it? How much preservatives are they going to use? Because Bill Gates is a businessman ultimately. He's not going to be caring about, you know, the old school Bragg's, you know, the anti-Bragg's making the apple cider vinegar natural. Because apple cider vinegar, one thing I liked about that brand was it was pure and it was raw. So that's another thing you have to look at. Olive oil now. We might buy it in a glass bottle. Where is it sourced from? What are the requirements for it to say, you know, manufactured and sourced in Italy? It only has to be there for 24 hours before it's shipped across the world. And it could come from, you know, another country. I'm not going to mention, but there's another country that's very popular in the news at the minute right now, so I'm not going to say where the else olive oil comes from. You might know. I don't want to say it for YouTube purposes. But you don't know where things are getting sourced from right now. You just do not know. So there's that thing involved too. Whereas I know chicken skin came from that chicken, bro. So that's how I like to do it.
Actually, there are a lot of studies that say that the mono unsaturated fat is better for you compared to the saturated fat that you get from the animal products, right?
Okay.
So what do you have to say about that? Because you get the monounsaturated fat from olive oil and stuff like that, right?
Yeah. It's good. It's not bad. I think you need all of it. That's the way I see it. Now, is it essential to get these fats for testosterone? Possibly. I suppose it definitely will have some sort of hand in it, but I still think the animal fats for me are the best things. Raw natural fats are the best ones. Are you saying is one fat better than the other? That I don't know. There's studies for both.
Yeah.
There's studies for both. I'll give you a great example, yeah, the carnivore diet. Carnivore diet is what, primarily meat.
Yeah.
And they push red meat and fats. It works. Keto diet, they push high fatty foods. It works. I'm not saying it's sustainable long term, and I'm not saying these are the healthiest diets to go on long term, but they definitely work.
So since we're talking about it, what is the difference between the carnivore diet and the keto diet? Because in the carnivore diet, you're getting the fat with the meat, right?
Yes.
And keto is almost the same thing.
From my understanding, the keto diet allows a lot of fats from, let's just say, not the best products. You know, they'll say, we can have low keto bread. We can have, whereas carnivores like, no, there's no such thing as low keto bread. You know what I mean? Sorry, is low keto what? Low carb keto bread. You know, you know what I'm trying to say? There's a lot of processed stuff that's allowed on the keto diet, whereas the carnivore diet has to be very raw and natural.
Yeah.
And I believe on the carnivore diet, people are having fruits and they're also having honey. Whereas keto, as we know, once it spikes insulin, you run out. Your body stops producing ketones and it starts to go to insulin. So keto diet is predominantly just burning ketones, whereas a carnivore diet, from my understanding, from what I've seen, that people that follow keto diet, they do eat fruit.
They do it.
Yeah, so you're getting fructose.
So you're getting carbs.
That's the difference, but it's still very natural, and both diets are pretty good. I mean, if I was to pick one, I would say carnivore's better. That's what I would say. Yeah.
And what changes should one make in their own lifestyle to boost the testosterone? Since we've talked about the diet, what changes should one make in his own lifestyle?
So this is more important than the diet in itself. The changes that you make lifestyle-wise. Yeah. And diet it plays a big part of it because we're eating multiple times a day. But number one thing that we can all do, okay, unless you've got one leg or whatever, you know, let's just, you know, be a little bit sensible, because I was always, often people get comments saying, well, I've been disabled for 18 years. I'm like, bro, I'm not, you know, you're an exception, you know, let's leave that out. Walk. Go for a walk. That's the first thing. You go for a walk, a lot of your problems are going to get solved, you know, so that's one of the main things. Number two, and this is so essential to do this, fasting. Fasting is one of the most important things when it comes to testosterone production. The least we are giving our body in a high insulin state, feeding it constantly, making the body function, work all the time, constantly functioning. And bodybuilders, they want to eat every 2 hours. Why? Because the sole purpose is muscle gain, fat loss. But to live healthy and to increase testosterone, fasting is one of the best tools. So actually, fact, you think, and it's a little bit of a cop-out answer in the sense where, what's the best thing to do to increase testosterone naturally? Not eat. You know? So that's how it is. And there's many studies on it. Many studies.